So let's dive into it. The black is first on the menu, and we start with Acolyte of Azlazots. For 2 and a black, it's a 1/4, and you can tap it and sacrifice another creature or an artifact. Each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. Azlazots. Okay. Oh my god, what tier list so far? Okay. Oh, you wanted me to change that part of the bot? The waters? I just thought it was like a space that I needed to change.
No, the only thing I told you was the space because that was the most important part to change.
Oh my god. Okay.
But it said WoW tier list all yesterday, yeah.
Okay. Anyways, 1/4, very, very undesirable stats for a 3-drop, I think. I don't think there's enough things that you just want to like sacrifice constantly. That this is really good. You gotta tap as well. It needs to tap itself. Your reward is like 1 life drain. I don't like this card at all. Might be wrong. I don't think there's a deck that just like needs anything that sacrifices. So yeah, I mean you can sacrifice market, you know, but like I don't think you need to sacrifice. If this could sacrifice lands, that would be nice, because then you could get your descent going. Like you might want descent, but I don't think this is the best way to get it. So I'm just gonna be on a D for this one. Might be lower. I just don't see it in the decks. Maybe I'm wrong. It would be cool if this is good, but I don't see it right now in the decks.
I think probably the best thing, and what sort of synergizes with itself is the Black Acre Wellspring. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You said there wasn't much to sacrifice, but the Black Acre Wellspring at common is probably the one you actually want to be doing it with, right? Which is not a bad way to go. This feels like it can add up to be something. I don't think this is great. I don't think you're going to be really needing this type of effect because there's like a lot of better ways at common to sacrifice things as well. But I'm a little bit more optimistic, and then D+.
I kind of want to give it a D-, but let's see. I mean, it's like that it has to tap itself. I would rather like it if it costs maybe 1 mana to do this, but you can just do it once every turn. Yeah. What do you see in this, Scotty?
What is this?
What do you see in this card? Like,
what do I see in this?
Yeah, like the Wellspring.
We have like similar-ish draining effects where you're defensive and then you just incidentally drain 1, buys you a decent amount of time, can block some amount of things. Like I don't see like, okay, being on the other side of the board, my opponent drops this. I'm not like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. They're like, I'm gonna roll them now because they have like a 1/4 for 3, right? And then if they have a couple things, like for example, they already have like an Ichor Wellspring on the battlefield, then they just use it end of turn defensively to cantrip again. And then I'm like, yeah, it's doing enough. It's doing enough in this game where that's like a totally playable card in their deck.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a very playable card. I think I want to give it a D-.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, let's start it as a D.
Wild.
I just don't see like the Ichor Wellspring, like the 2 mana card that draws your card, loses you 1 life on enter the battlefield, and on that. Well, I mean, that doesn't feel good with this. Like you just pay 2 mana to draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. And you had to play this for it.
1 life.
Yeah, you lose 1 life, sure.
Ooh.
And you had to play this for it. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I think it's gonna go to D-. So, alright, next one.
Another chance. 2 and a black for 3 mana for an instant. You may mill 2 cards, then return up to 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, replaceable. Like I don't see ever a world. Well, not ever, but I really don't believe that this will be like a centerpiece of these type of descending style of decks. It's kind of weird as well. It doesn't have this sort of weird tension where you don't actually add to your like full descend count because you're taking permanents out of your battlefield, out of your graveyard.
I mean, this makes you have less descent, not more.
On average, yes. Yeah, on average, right?
Yeah.
No, like normally. So that's like pretty odd. Yeah, I don't really care about this. I don't think that it's gonna be that important for any archetype. So I think it's a D.
It's a what?
I think it's a D. I think it's yeah, I think it's a D. I like the acolyte better.
No, I like this better. I think it's fine. It's instant speed. It mills with 2 cards. Like it might be okay with some descent decks, right? You use this. You get some other cards that might mill you. It's instant speed, so you can do it on the opponent's turn when you may be blocked or whatever. I'm okay with this one. I think I'm gonna put this in most of my black decks. I'm kind of okay with like a C- or a D+. I think I'm gonna start as a C-. I think I want 1 in my black decks, in basically every black deck. Let's go C-. And it would be so cool if SNC Graveyard Recursion was here. Like SNC Graveyard Recursion, do you guys remember? It was like mill 2, get a creature back, but if you had Casualty, which makes you descend more as well, you mill 2 again and get something back. Was it mill 2? I think it was mill 2. And then like now you got like 4 cards in. That would be so nice for descent. So yeah, that would be cool. Okay, Brood Rage Myconid. For 3 and a black, it's a 4/3. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, create a 1/1 black fungus creature token with this creature cannot block. So you just need like any meal, any loot, any trade. But this 1/1 cannot block. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. That being said, it is fine. It does trade with a lot of things, so not like you can keep it on the battlefield forever, but 1/1 that cannot block, that's I don't know. I don't like the stats that much, and 1/1 conditional, 1/1 that cannot block. I think it's fine. I'm gonna go with a D+.
I really don't like the stats. I actually think that there's a really high amount of 3 powered things that are below it, you know? Like in the stat game, right? In the general stat game, the more 2/3s, like think about a set and its ratio of 3 2s to 2 3s. I was literally saying this yesterday. I really do think that there's a higher ratio of 3 2s in the set than 2 3s, right? All the cards that could be 2 3s are in fact 3 2s in the set. Which makes this stat line a lot worse. Yeah, lower cost than this.
No.
Which makes this card significantly worse, in my opinion. That makes like Bears a little better, but that's fine. I don't like this card. D+.
Yeah, not. I don't know why this fungus cannot block. That fungus really should have been able to block. Okay, let's go.
Deadweight Black. 1 mana for an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets -2. I think this card is actually phenomenal. This counts for your descend cards, right? It will descend itself.
Yeah.
Has a lot of nice. I mean, Deadweight's super nice, right? Helps you keep you alive early. Can even shrink an attacker later. It's extremely flexible. Lovely magic card. V-.
Yeah, I'm like it's Deadweight is always like C+, or B-. But in this set, like this, if you're gonna go for the descent, that's like yeah, I think it's usually like a C+. But descent, like this is so nice. Like you're getting a removal that is also descent. I think I'm still gonna go with a C+, and then we can go and yeah, I think it's a C+, and then it can move to a B-, like in a deck that cares about descent, because I think a lot of decks are not gonna care about descent. Definitely could go to just B- in any deck, but let's start as a C+. Gonna be a little bit more careful. Deadcap Marionette. You just gotta I'm just gonna go every time. Not gonna ask you. You just.
I'll just go.
Yeah.
I mean, I like. That's like the last note on Deadweight is we're literally talking about the stat game, and I think there's a lot of 2 toughness stuff to kill.
Yeah, that's why I think it's probably gonna go to a B-, but starting it as a C+. If you ever just interrupt me anytime you want to say something.
Bah.
If I start with the next card. Anyways,
Yeah,
Death Cap Marionette for 1 and a black. It's a 1/1 Detacher. When it enters the battlefield, you may mill 2 cards. Okay, that's a nice thing for the this is nice thing for Descent. I mean, this is what I want when I am descending. That be like, I think Golgari is the thing, the color pair where you do care about descenting. I still think like Explore is maybe the best thing for Descent. Like you're drawing cards, if something is really good, you don't put it in the graveyard. Like Exploring is so good for Descent. I think this is like a C- or a C. I'm gonna start as a C. Like if you care about descending, like this is the one. If you don't, well, whatever. There is not that many 1/1 hate, 1 toughness hate in this set. Let's start as a C.
Okay, cool. I'm kind of a hater. I understand this does a lot of stuff, right? The body is pretty small. It's pretty good defensively, right? But I kind of feel like, archetype-wise, Golgari, I think, wants this. I think if you're descending, in terms of triggering descend every turn, I don't think those decks generally want this, because I think those decks are kind of more offensive, and I don't want a 1/1 for 2 mana. And I believe that this is not a great sack fodder either, so I would prefer it not in blue-black either. Or decks that want to sacrifice stuff. So I think this is kind of just for Golgari. And that's why I'm giving it a D+.
Yeah, it is true. I think I'll lower it. Like, black just doesn't have good descent cards. Like, common black cards, there is that descent where you descent every turn, and yeah, this is not it for that. I'm more thinking about the descent threshold, like 4 or 8, where this can work. But
yeah, I said it wasn't as good as in blue black, but I misspoke. I meant like black white. So it would actually be pretty decent in Dimir.
Does help.
Dimir and Golgari.
Let's give it a C-. Give it a C- for me. I don't know. It also gives you like craftings if you care about crafting, but black. I don't think it's the end of the world to play this. Not that many first strikers. Yeah, I'm gonna C-. I think this is fine.
I think C-. C- sounds good. Deep Goblin Skull Taker, 2 black for a 3 mana creature Goblin Warrior. It's a 2/2 with menace. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, put a +1/+1 counter and Deep Goblin Skull Taker. I am not a believer. Okay, so I think that there is a lot of high potential to see in this, right? Like, oh, you have like this 3/3 Menacer, and then a 4/4 Menacer is actually like super scary on board. Like, you can just imagine that situation. But I think this is way too slow. Mostly because I couldn't piece together a good common way to put a counter on this immediately. On curve.
On curve.
I couldn't piece together anything. And if this is on curve, if I'm attacking next turn as a 2 on a like 2/2 Menacer, I don't want that. A 3/3 Menacer is good. A 4/4 Menacer is bonkers, right?
Yeah.
So like I understand that this has a lot of high upside. I don't think that this is fast enough. I'm putting this at a D.
At a D?
At a D.
Yeah.
For I actually don't want it.
Like, is it 3/3 on the turn? It is cast.
If this is a 3/3 on the turn, it's cast. Oh, sorry. You trade. You have to block.
If
right?
you trade,
that's the best situation.
Yeah.
Specifically, I remember going through this process. But there's not a whole lot of cards that punish your opponent for not blocking in the first as a 2-drop. Specifically, I was looking at black 2-drops in commons, and a lot of them are 1 power. It is kind of embarrassing. Right?
Well,
you have the rat that exiles from hand. You have the stupid fungus.
Well, how many? There are not that many of these cards that, like, if you descended, that work for every turn.
Yeah, this one's a repeatable one.
Like if there was a lot of these like repeatable descent effects that are good, and I don't think there is. Is there any more in black? I don't think there is. So this is the one. If there was like more of them, then you could maybe consider playing like the 3 mana 2/2 flyer that mills when it attacks, like the blue uncommon that you can mill every turn. Like that's, you could consider those if you had like a multiple of these type of effects, because then it's like, oh, my half of my board is getting bigger, is doing things. But it's not worth, like, I think it's not worth it to put those kind of cards in the deck for this one. I might be wrong, I hope I am, because it's pretty cool. And trading is not easy. Creatures trade all the time. True. All the time. But we've had a lot of these cards where, if you're gonna make a trade, right? A lot of these cards that said, if a creature died under your control this turn, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Usually it's like, there were 1 or 2 4-drops that did that. And it was hard to actually have that effect consistently triggered, because people just don't block a good amount of times. And you kind of needed them to block right away, because it's too late later. Like, creatures are going to trade, that just happens. But yeah, I think... yeah, there is a Drake, but it's a 3-drop, right? And this is a 3-drop. And then, like, enabling your 3-drops with 3-drops, if it's like a tempo enabler, like this tempo, this is just getting +1/+1 counter, getting bigger. It's hard. That is not easy to enable 3-drops with 3-drops. That has never been very easy, unless it's some kind of really nice late game synergy. I'm gonna be on a D+. I hope, I believe that this can be fine. So there might be a deck where you do want to descend a lot of times, and that is maybe slower. So. Oh, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's a good card, but yeah, let's give it like a believing D+. Because it is a common, maybe we can have a few of these, and I don't know. In some kind of a blue deck maybe. In blue-black I think it's kind of fine to have this effect. Where I think it's not that hard to put cards in the graveyard. But yeah, we're gonna see. Echo of Dusk. For 1 and a black, it's a 2/2. That is it, but... if you have descent 4, so 4 permanents in the graveyard, this is like, now we're getting to this theme, guys, like, just having 4 permanents in the graveyard. This thing gets +1/+1 and lifelink. So this is like a vanilla 2-drop, but at one point, it becomes like a pretty damn good 2-drop. A pretty damn good 3-drop. Like 3/3 lifelink is a really powerful 3-drop. I mean, this in a like slower descent deck, this can really work. Like this can really work in a slower descent deck. But it is a vanilla 2-drop at first. But later on, if you draw them like. Now you got like lifelinkers, opponent is having a hard time killing you. There are +1/+1 counters in this set, some equipment that's good, I think. I don't know, it depends on the deck. Like if you're not... Like any deck in the late game can have descent, you just have creatures trade, that's it. There are not many better 2-drops in black. Not many better 2-drops than this one, so... I think I'm on a C-, but I think it can have a ceiling of like C+. What do you think about it? Ceiling of C+? Or a C? Or ceiling of a C?
I'm gonna argue against.
Yeah.
Specifically for the last comment you said there aren't a lot of better 2-drops in black. Yeah. I agree with that statement. I don't think that they're embarrassingly far behind. To the point where if you look at green and blue, which I'm looking at specifically to pair with black for an effect like this, to maximize like it's like, you know, the lifelink really mattering in terms of stabilizing you, I think that there's actually a huge surplus of quality defensive 2-drops. Like if you look at blue, I want the Explorer guy, right, over this every time. Essentially, right? I
mean, we want the Explorer guy over anything.
Yeah, basically. Sure. Over anything. That's like the best 2-drop ever. Period. That and the Tarmogoyf. Anyway, but I don't think you want to be. I don't think you're ever going to be desperate in a draft. You're never going to be like, oh, if only I can. Are you okay? If only I can pick up like Echoes of Dust, or if only like I need to see like an Echo of Dust this draft, you know? And so it's C minus for me, just a C minus.
Yeah. All right, then we don't give it a sideboard grade. C minus seems fine, yeah. I think it's gonna be better in some decks. Like, this is exactly who mentioned this. So a communist mentioned this. Mentioned that it's worse than the what's the name? The Scoop. Yeah, this. Okay, yeah, you said it. It's Scoop from SNC, which is like black and blue, and you mill 2. And it's harder to activate that kind of effect to get it into make it a 3/3 lifelink, but it mills too, which is huge. So yeah, this could be overperformer depending on the deck. I think this could go up in the tier list definitely, but we're gonna have to see.
Fanatical Offering, 1 in the black for an instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw 2 cards, and create a map token. This is beautiful. This is very important to any sort of deck that cares about sacrificing as a theme, right? And even if you don't, and you have incidental things that you would like to sacrifice, and you care about artifacts and artifacts being created, fantastic. This card does everything. This card does everything. It's cheap, right? It's can blank removal, can blank enchantment base removal, etc. Instant speeds. This is lovely. I think that obviously you want to take high quality creatures and stuff that affects the board first, but I think this is very solid in basically every deck. This is a C+ for me.
A C+? Ooh.
A C+.
C+.
C+. C+. C+ for the Ocean set. This card is real strong.
I think it's good. I think it's maybe the best. Like, it sacrifices any artifact as well. I think it's the best one that we saw. This type of effect for limited. But
I feel like Deadly Dispute is better, but
I don't think so.
Whoa, really? Wasn't Deadly Dispute like a B-?
No.
Really?
No.
Huh.
It was good.
Okay. Okay.
I think it's better to make map token, and I think there are more artifacts in this set than treasures in AFR, right? That was AFR. I think there's more artifacts here that you find sacking than in AFR. It can be any artifact. I mean, I like this. This is not better than Charter Course, I think. Getting like map token is nice. It's so nice. Helps with descent as well. I'm on a C or a C- for this one still. Like, you need to sacrifice something. I think I'm gonna go for a C. Just because I think it's really good in some decks. It's okay in others, but you can fizzle removal, yeah. That's like what you can always do with Village Right effects. Yeah, I'm on a C. I think this is fine. This is fine. Like, a map token, any artifact is huge. Like in black, in white, for example, you have a lot of them. Yeah.
You had Deadly Dispute lower than a C in AFR?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I guess, sorry, it's your turn to read.
Fungal Fortitude. For 1 and a black, flash, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0. When it dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner control. Okay, so the cool thing here is this is an enchantment, not an instant speed spell, so it can work with Descent. You can play it proactively, like pushing the damage with some creature. Like, if you don't have anything else to do, they have their mana untapped. You just attack, they don't block, you put a +2/+0 on it. It's not like you don't have to use it as a trick. How do you get 2 for 1 with this? This is like 1 for 1. If you try to get it back, that's 1 for 1. Because you just killed their creature you lost a card, they lost a card. That's 1 for 1. It's fine. It's fine, this one. I think it's a D+. I think it's desirable to have this in some black decks. Gets you your Descent back, and you can again play proactively. I think it's fine. D+. I'm okay with this one. Scotty?
Okay, I'm kind of a believer. I'm gonna be more optimistic. So I initially had it a D plus, but I want to be higher than you on this.
Yeah?
I want to be higher than you on this. I really think that if you're an aggressive black deck, that's the only requirement. I think you'll play this, and I think you'll be happy playing like 1 or 2. I think playing it proactively is a huge deal. I don't think that's a side bonus. I think that's everything, right? I think that being able to slap this on your evasive beater, and then asking the opponent, you have to kill my evasive beater twice, or handle it twice, right? So 2 things, right? The 2 things that are a problem with evasive creatures, right? How you deal with them. You block them with a large like reach blocker or something, or you kill it. And this kind of helps both. I'm a big fan. Big fan. C-.
Flash is huge. I can see this going to C-. I can definitely see it. Like D+ is the minimum that I want for it, but let's start as a D+. I just want to go like the last card is. I'm gonna check. You read the next time. I'm gonna check what did I have. What do you have the dispute at? You go.
Greedy Freebooter, black, for a creature human pirate. It's a 1/1. When Greedy Freebooter dies, scry 1 and create a treasure token. I want this to be good, but it's rough. Shambling Ghast, this is not. I really like. Okay, so a big part of Shambling Ghast, right, is that it has really strong defensive capabilities. The block and trade at the 2 toughness creature. I think that's a lot. I think this is much worse than that. It's cool to sacrifice, right? If you're actually getting value off the sacrificing and not like sacrificing to drain 1, etc. But I am not really into sacking this type of thing, right? Because if you're blocking with this, you're chumping. That wasn't always the case with other type of effects that we've seen in the past like this. Like if you're blocking this, you're chumping. You're never sacking this to kill your opponent's 1 toughness creature proactively, right? It's rough. I'm not happy about it, so I think this is a D. Lola's muted.
Oh damn! Oh damn! I muted. Okay, shit. So yeah, okay. D for me as well. I would rather not have scry and have -1/-1 so I can trade, or sacrifice and then kill the X1. Give please the better. I think better Deadly Dispute because there is way more artifacts in this set that are worth sacrificing. Give it a C+ from me as well. Did you give it a C+ or a B-?
We're both on C+. Welcome to the club.
I think it's a great card. I think it's just great. Join the Dead. Target creature for 1 and double black. Target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. If you have Descent, that thing gets -10/-10. So it basically kills anything, but in the late game, it kills anything. Like a murder. If it doesn't kill anything, you probably use it as a trick. This is great. Double black kinda hurts it. But it's amazing. B-.
B-. I'm okay with that, but I don't want to talk about Join the Dead, right? I'm not going to talk about Join the Dead.
You can talk about it. It's just
I'm going to talk about two other cards. I'm going to reference 2 other cards that have my eyeball on.
Okay.
Because of Join the Dead specifically. I have my eyeball on... Sorry, Han, what was the card you just drew? What was it called? Cavern Stomper. I have my Cavern Stomper. This actually doesn't kill a Cavern Stomper straight up, and I think that's very intentional. The 6-drop in green, that's a common. Because normally, if it doesn't gain life as a 6-drop green common, I'm not into it, but I think it's very intentional that this doesn't actually kill that card. So I think that card might be better, specifically for this common interaction.
You mean the 7/7?
Because normally the weakness of the stupid green dorky cards is black removal. And also,
and white removal.
I'm kind of into +1/+3 untapped flying, because it actually does help your creature survive this, and that's a huge swing in your favor. Just 2 other cards I'm keeping my eyeball on because Join the Dead is worded the way it is. So yeah, I still think it's a B-.
Descent 4 is, I don't think it's easy to get, but this card doesn't need it. It's amazing. So what do you give it in the end? B-? I
have it a B- as well.
Okay. You mean the 7/7 green card, right?
Yeah, 7/7 green card. Yep.
I like that one. I really like that one. Okay, we're gonna talk about it when it's time. Scotty?
Mephitic Draught. 1 and a black for 2 mana for an artifact. When a Mythic Draw enters the battlefield or is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you draw a card and lose 1 life. I am very into this. So we see this set's version of draw cards, lose life in black, right? Like Rowan's Grim Search, read the bones type of stuff, etc. I think, in my opinion, this is if we're making sweeping claims about past sets, I think this is the best version of that, specifically because it's low investment up front. And I think that you actually actively do want to be sacrificing these types of things in these slower black grindy artifact based decks, like attrition black decks. I think really actually want this, and I think this effect will be very, very good for that because of the low upfront investment. And also it's a 4/3 dinosaur that I'm blocking with, so there we go. I think this is good, and I think this is a C.
I don't know. There are not that many things that sec, and I don't think you need to look for things to sec as well. There's that bad 1/4. There's a really good instant speed sec, but that's like one-time use. I don't care about losing 2 life and drawing 2 cards if I need to sec. I mean, there is that like that guy that grows if you sacrifice an artifact +1/+1. I don't know, man. I don't see it. Like losing 1 life is big. It's nice that it is an artifact, so you can have it in the graveyard for descent. That's the nice thing. That's a really nice thing. That is really nice.
I think this is an important attrition-based card for those decks that you actively seek out. Yep.
For the decks that care about descent,
or any slow deck, because I think all the slow decks will. Good, fight me. Give it a low grade.
I'm gonna give it a D+, and I can see this going down.
Fantastic.
I hope it's good. I hope it's good. Yeah, you go through everything, you get Sign in Blood. Like but it's nice. Like if you care about sacrificing, it's better than being instant speed draw, sorcery speed draw 2 and lose 2 life. Because if
I'm gonna reword that.
What?
I'm gonna reword that. You get to go through everything to get Sign in Blood. It's a privilege to be able to go through the process.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a benefit.
If you care about sacrificing, yes, I agree. I don't know how much you care about sacrificing. Okay, next one. Primordial Gnower. For 4 and a black, it's a 5/2. When it dies, discover 3. So it trades with everything, but it really trades with anything. Nothing is not gonna trade with this. Which is not that good for 5 drops. I don't know, this... Just anything kills it. But you get to discover. Now what are you gonna get from that discover? It is a bit random. Like what if this is a card that when it dies it makes a 3/3? If that was what it was. How do you feel about it, Scotty?
Dece.
But this is way worse.
This is worse.
It's 5 mana, yeah. I don't know, man. I'm on a D. Not a big fan. It's like 5/2 is so bad for a 5 drop. And if it doesn't get you something worthwhile, like a 3 drop, even a 2 drop if it gets you, I'm not happy with this.
I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
I think it's a D-, and I don't want to put a sideboard X next to it.
No.
But I think this is not bad versus green. Versus green dorky dinosaurs. If you are reasonably not trading down on mana, or for on stats at least, so you're trading for like your opponent's like 4-drop or like overstatted creatures, etc. You know, like you want to contest or even just block your opponent's large creatures, and you can't do so in other ways. You could do worse.
But still, the problem is this. If it doesn't block a large creature, that's not very good for you.
That is very bad. Yes, I think this card is horrible.
Yeah.
But I believe if I played this set a bunch, I would probably sideboard it in a couple times.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be happy playing that. Next up.
Rampaging Spiketail, 4 black for a creature dinosaur. It's a 5/6. When Rampaging Spiketail enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains indestructible until end of turn and has swamp cycling for 2. This card is kind of strong. The effect, right? It's a large creature and it throws some damage directly at your opponent's face. Indestructible +2/+0. That basically reads, hey, opponent, take a fat fist of damage or lose a card, right? Like we've seen this effect a bunch of times before, and it plays out better than it looks. All you need is a 3-powered creature for it to literally say, hey, take a lava axe to the face or lose a card. So not bad. And the body's not bad. Well, okay, the body's bad for a 6 mana. Let's be real. But like it's still at least stats. I'm still not super hot on it. This is like a C- for me.
Okay, so I'm gonna fight you on this. Usually when we see this effect, it's +1/+0, right? On a creature.
Yep. This is better.
And the +1/+0 indestructible, I think opposite is true. That it plays out worse than it looks every time. That these cards just don't make decks.
You didn't like the Theros Beyond Death 5/4?
That makes 2 things +1/+0, right?
Oh, really? Ooh.
No.
Okay. I don't remember.
If that was the card from Theros. I know there was a guy like the 5 mana guy, right?
Yeah, it could be. I don't. You might be right.
Yeah, and I really didn't like it. I don't know if it's Theros or whatever it is, but there was like a 5 mana guy that gave.
It was definitely a Theros Minotaur.
Okay, that gave like there was like. I'm thinking about the KHD one. Wait. Yeah, Zombie Berserker, the 4/4. That was Kaltheim. KYD. That was Kaltheim, right? The 4/4. Enters the battlefield, gives 2 target creatures +1/+0. I really didn't like that one. But also like the black was really bad. There. It has swamp cycling for descent, for getting the swamp. I don't think it's terrible. The body is nice. The +2 is big deal compared to +1, because now it's something that's taken for a lot. I'm gonna D+. I hope this is gonna be better, because like this sometimes it's just instant speed descent to give something like +1/+1 lifelink or something like that. But yeah, D+ for starters. I don't think I want too many of these. I hope I'm wrong. It seems like a interesting card like that does a lot of that can do a lot of different things. Ray of Ruin for 4 and a black. Exile target creature, vehicle or non-basic land. Scry 1. Okay, just overcosted removal. It's fine. If your deck needs something like this, instance. It's sorcery. Why the fuck is this sorcery speed? Why do all these removals that are bad for a lot of mana have to be sorcery? Like, this is something yeah.
That line should have been in the bingo. Why the fuck is this sorcery?
Yeah.
You say that all the time.
Sure. But why does like so many sets have really good removal that costs like 3 mana, instant speed, always instant speed. And then you have like 5-6 mana, not a very good removal spell. And it's sorcery speed because it's 5 mana, like it's already not very good, and then bam, sorcery. I don't know. Exile is okay, I guess. Can't kill the artifacts. This could kill artifacts. This should kill artifacts. D. It's if you need it in deck for killing something, I guess.
Yeah, this is D. I like that these cards exist. I think they're good for the draft format.
Yeah, I think it's fine, but instant speed, come on. It can be instant speed.
Screaming Phantom, 2 and a black for a creature. Spirit, it's a 2/2 with flying. Whenever Screaming Phantom attacks, mill a card. This is a Windrake to me. I don't like it. I think this is small. I don't think that this is actually what these... Okay. I don't think that this is what these style of Descend decks actually want to be doing. You have, on one side, aggressive Descenders, right? Descend triggers, etc. Probably red-black. On the flip side, you have defensive Descend control decks. I don't think either of those cards really care about this. You have a Windrake. That's not a whole lot of pressure. Definitely doesn't block very well. Inconsistent in terms of triggering your Descend, which is a little embarrassing. If you're relying on this to trigger your Descend every turn.
Yeah.
Let's say you have the stupid Goblin out. Like, right? And this is the only card that you're milling yourself with. And then you mill, like, your removal spell. And you're like, all right, well, I literally have a 2-2 now. Like, still. For another turn cycle. Miserable. And if you're playing a defensive deck, I don't care about Windrake. I really don't. This is D for me.
D for me as well. It could maybe be something in a deck that has like the 2-drop Dissenter, if that's what you're going for. And then like you get his flyer. But I think you always want Explore in those Descent decks as well. I don't know. I don't like 2-2 flyer that are basically that, and not gonna put more stats on the board. But maybe I'm gonna put it in some of those decks that have a couple of 2-2 lifelink guys. We're gonna see.
I'm lowering it to D-. This card upsets me.
Yeah, I'm kind of I kind of wanted to put it on a D- right away, but let's go D. Maybe there is some deck where it's gonna work better. Skullclap Snail for 1 and a black. It's a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, the target opponent exiles a card from their hand. Okay, so it's not gonna be helping them with Ascent. So that's nice. We got another red, yeah, which is a fungus snail this time. Oh, come on, aren't regular snails gross enough? So, this is fine. Like just blocking with this, getting your Descend up is okay. I'm gonna C+. I like this a lot.
Yeah, I think this actually does everything. This is actually a card I'm happy to sacrifice, and this card I'm pretty happy to chump with.
And to sacrifice,
C+.
Yeah, to sacrifice as well.
Tithing Blade, 1 and a black for an artifact. When Tithing Blade enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Craft with creature for 4 and a black. And it flips into Consuming Sepulcher. For an artifact at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This is spicy to me. Okay, let's talk about some facts. Edict is a bad Magic card, right? It's bad. There's gnomes, there's snails, right? There's freebooters if people are playing that. There's a high chance that your Tithing Blade will not hit something of value that you want it to hit. Something's going for it. I actually think that the backside, for a deck that is interested, or rather for the deck that I see Wizards is trying to seed with us, an artifact-based slower controlling deck, I think the backside is pretty good. Actually, even for an aggressive deck, right? Actually, aggressive decks are even better. This is actually even better than an aggressive deck, because edicts are better than an aggressive deck, right? They trade off their small ball creatures. They play like a large blocker, try to stabilize, you get them, right? And then you trade off you've traded off your creatures already, then you flip this and finish them off. So I like that. I actually like that. That's like a normal Magic the Gathering thing. But even in the archetypal slow decks, I kind of like this too. Just for the fact that it does something and then stays on the battlefield to have something else done with it. And it's not like I'm really just diving for the backside in a slow deck to the point I'm not happy trading this off or sacrificing. So I'm actually giving this a... Wow. I want to give this a C+. I'm giving it a C+. I really like it.
Yeah, it can be a problem if opponent has like the 1/1 slime around.
Yes, I think Edict is still bad. That doesn't change anything. Edict is bad.
Yeah, I think it might be worse in this set than in others, but what do you give it?
I actually think it's still going to be quite good. It's a C+ for me.
Yeah, I'm on a C+ as well. I like this card a lot. Like, so first thing, I like the other side. You already got them to sacrifice. You're gonna be draining them all the time. Oh, that's the 7/7. Oh, that actually looks good. Why didn't we wait for the 7/7?
Why didn't you wait for the 7/7? Wow. Okay. Fine. I'll just not share it. We'll just destroy it. We'll just rip it.
Rip it apart. This is the wrong time to show it. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? You're fucking up everything. Thanks, Han.
Gosh, I'm such a ditz. Is that a bad word? I don't know if that's a bad word.
What is the word?
Ditz?
Ditz.
Yeah, ditz.
I don't even know what the fuck that means. Dick? Is
Okay,
that
well.
Is that like dick
Moving on, I
for
guess.
children? Oh, wait, that sounds wrong.
That was wrong.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
That was wrong.
There is no dick for children. You heard it here first. There we go. Okay? That's how I live my life. No dicks for children. But Teething Blade is for anybody. I think. So
It's very good. It's very clever. It was very clever. I'll give you props for that one. It was good. It was a good joke.
Okay, I don't know. Feeling weird. So yeah, the nice thing about it also is also Han, good job. That looks pretty damn good. It's you can sacrifice it, right? So that's not nothing. Like you get an artifact on the battlefield that impacted the board in some way, but you can sacrifice it. So I really don't like the first effect. I like that it's an artifact that you can sacrifice and that you can transform into drain one every turn. Lola is coming wearing his shirt and suit, already preparing to impress the judge. I want a C+ for this one. I like this a lot. It's gonna be hit or miss the first part, but I think just artifacts staying on the battlefield that can become something else, even if you don't care about sacrificing it. It's not a small thing. So yeah, I like this one. Let's go. Tier list. That's what we're doing here. Vito's Inquisitor. For 3 and a black, it's a 3/3, and for black, and you sacrifice another artifact or creature, put a +1/+1 counter on this thing, and it gains menace until end of turn. Thank you very much for this effect not being sorcery speed. Always sorcery speed, always garbage. Literally always garbage, I think. But every card that I remember that had this kind of effect, it was complete and utter bullshit. Because it was sorcery speed. Well, this thing does stuff like instant speed, sacking artifacts and creatures. I think this is not bad. I think this is not a bad 4-drop. And I'm kinda like it. Like, as a C or a C-, depending on the deck. Like, 3/3 is really bad. And getting a 4-mana 3/3, that's really bad. So I'm actually gonna give it a C-. Like, usually 4-mana 3/3s I hate. I think 1 or 2 of these are gonna make some black decks work. Blocking is gonna be a nightmare as well.
This card is a house. This card is really good.
Yeah.
I want a C+.
Even though it's a
huge.
4-drop, 4-mana
It's
4-drop.
huge. It's hard to block. Threat of activation. Chef's kiss. Everything. Everything. This is this. Okay. My kicker, right? If you only, and this actually is really important to me. So this card means a lot to me emotionally. So if you take the commons only, and you build a attrition-based sacrifice build, and you have Vito's Inquisitors, a couple, as a finisher, I'm happy with that. I don't even need uncommons. I don't even need rares. I can finish off games with Vito's Inquisitors and be super happy about that. Very strong. Big fan. C+.
It's actually kind of cool with, unfortunately, another 4-drop, the Fungus guy. That makes on ones.
It's pretty good at the Fungus guy.
But it's like, I don't really... comboing your 4-drops doesn't work in Limited that well. Because it's too high mana
I don't
cost.
care about that.
You okay with it?
No, I don't care about that. I don't care about the Fungus.
Okay, so on C+, okay, I really hope that you are correct with this. But I'm gonna still start it. Like, maybe a C? Okay, let's give it a C-. I don't think you need a lot of these. Like 1 or 2, and that's fine. This is such a great card that it exists. It's so good. I love it. I love that it exists. And I hope it's gonna be like a C+ or something in the end. We are done with the commons. Okay, next up.
Let me pull it up. Give me a second.
What are you pulling up?
I have to redo my Scryfall search, right?
Abyssal Gorestalker for 4 and double black. You get a 6/6, and when it enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices 2 creatures. D-. The hell with this.
Don't you like 6-drops that you can't cast?
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
Woo! I love it.
Like, who's gonna have a better time sacking these creatures, me or the opponent? Like, what if you have one creature, you're sacking a 6-drop? What if you have 0 creatures? Sure, opponent sacks 2, but you just sacked a 6-drop. And this is ever good. This is never a 6-drop that I want to play.
God, do you know what your payoff is for having enough creatures on board to make this like a sack 2 and then keep it? Is a 6/6. Nice.
Yeah, you got a 6/6.
I love it. I love that. I love vanilla creatures.
Why are you sacrificing? Why is that like? Also, it's same like with red effects. Like, it's hard to plan things when you have a 6 mana red. It is hard to... That just kills everything. It is hard to plan, like, this has to be a plan. Okay, I have this 6-drop, I'm gonna have 2 bad creatures and sack them, opponent is gonna sack 2 better creatures. But it's very hard to plan for with a 6-drop, because it is not that easy to get to 6 mana. Like, you don't get to 6 mana on turn 6, it's way later. And then, like, you plan for it, and then you don't hit a land for 1 or 2 or 3 turns, and your plan, like, you just made your game, you're just upped your chances of losing so much, because what you planned never happened, because you didn't get to the mana. Ah, yeah, D-. What do you give it, Scotty?
This card is terrible. It's a D-. I don't want my payoffs to have fail cases.
Yeah, I'm close to giving it an F, but let's
In the ideal Abyssal Gorestalker deck, it will not work 100% of the time.
Yeah, in an ideal deck, it's not very good.
Bitter Triumph, 1 in the black for 2 mana for an instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card or pay 3 life. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Ow. That's a little painful in the early turns of the game, right? If we're trying to use this early-ish and you don't want to pitch cards, right? That's a little painful. Explore, having extra lands is pretty nice. And the efficiency is pretty nice, but normally for something this efficient, I would want to be at a B. But I'm a little bit of a... Oh, okay, well, fine. You can also trigger Descend, instant speed and stuff, but I'm a little bit of a hater. I'm going to start at a B-.
I'll give it a B-. I like this. I like this a lot. Not much more to say about it. 3 life is fine to pay for this kind of effect. Bloodthorn Flail. For a black, you get a equipment that says equipped creature gets +2/+1. You can equip it by paying 3 or discarding a card. +2/+1 is not a lot even. Oh. This is not even a lot. This is like +2/+2 is a lot. I don't know. This doesn't seem good. What? You get 1 more power and then, like, you gotta pay 3 instead of 2? And, like, Short Sword is not very good. D? There is no madness as well. D? Just D or D-?
I don't understand how you can put this at a D.
D-. Let's go D-. Yeah.
I'm on a D-.
Yeah, it's just
this
garbage.
Is whack.
What? Next. Garbage.
Canonized in Blood. 1 in a black for 2 mana for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. 5 black, sacrifice Canonized in Blood. Create a 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying. Kinda weird. I'm assuming this has something to do with the story. But this ability's kinda weird. The 7 mana. 7 mana is very expensive. 7 mana is very expensive. It is. Casting this on turn 2, you're gonna get nothing, right? And maybe on turn 3, if you can make it work, you start getting +1/+1 counters. I am not impressed. I don't particularly see a super high ceiling. And sure, demons are cool. The demon, after you dump 7 mana into it, doesn't really help you block that well. It's actually terrible at blocking. I am off of it. This is a D+ for me.
I kind of want to give it a D. It's like +1/+1 counters on things that's usually not that worth for descending.
I'm totally fine with D.
Yeah,
give it a D. I'll give it a D.
I'm going for a D. Like 2/+7 to get a 4/3 is also not good. Like, this does a lot of things. It's kind of cool. I'm gonna try it out. I can't wait for early access. I want to try all these out that I gave these to. But And I think you're constantly like descending for this to like do it every single turn. And then, I mean, it does a lot of things. It's not horrible, but it's not very good. Like it doesn't do anything well. That's my problem. Nothing well. I've usually said that some bodies maybe instead of counters. That would have been really nice. But that's not what you do. Whenever you descend, that would be fucked up. That would be so crazy. Yeah, that would be broken. Chupacabra Echo. For 2 and a black, you got a 3-2. And Fathomless Descent. When this thing enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -X, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyards. Oh, wee! Okay, it's not Chupacabra from Ixalan. That was an uncommon. That's one of the best cards in Ixalan. That was a bomb, basically. Chupacabra from Ixalan was a 2-2 for 4 mana that destroyed an opponent's creature. Just killed it. Well, this thing has 50%. It's Chupacabra at home, yes. This thing has 50% more power, which is not nothing. Well, that's a lot more stats. And any descent? I mean, this is incredible. This is the thing I'm getting from my graveyard, right? This is what I want to be playing again and again and again and again. And it just gets better and better and better. This is, I think, crazy good. And I'm just going to give it a straight up B+.
There it is. B+.
It is?
I agree. Fantastic synergies all around. I think it's not nothing to discount the fact that your decks will want to do shenanigans with this anyway. It's really easy to recur, etc.
Really wanted to recur it, yes. There's only one card that recurs, right, in the set?
Yeah, it's a 3-drop, I think. No, there's a uncommon that digs from the grave. Wait, hold on. There's Helping Hand, which can't hit this. Never mind. There's a black one that recurs from the grave, and then there's the one that digs up 2 creatures.
There's like the digs 2 creatures. That's it.
No. There's the one Defossilized that explores twice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, anything that gets this back gets so much better. Crazy card.
Deep Cavern Bat. 1 and a black. For a creature bat, it's a 1/1 with flying and lifelink. When Deep Cavern Bat enters the battlefield, you look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it until Deep Cavern Bat leaves the battlefield.
Woo!
Yeah, that is spicy. That wears counters and equipment very well. I like. Argontovnik is correct, by the way. There's a 5 mana green regrowth. There's a 5 mana green regrowth as well, which is relevant because I think green-black is really good with Chupacabra. That's relevant. That's a lot. That's actually a lot. We're getting to good thresholds. Anyway, I like this card. Solid, helps races a little bit. Any sort of buffs really helps races. And being able to nab something to disrupt your opponent's curve is lovely. I think this is C+.
I'm on a B-. This is huge. Like, it's evasive, it has lifelink. I'm like on a B- or a B, something like that. Like, they gotta kill your 2-drop now, and it's like 2 life swing per turn without it trading. Like, if you have this card that's on ground, we had a similar card like this in old Ixalan, where it was a 1/2 and did the same thing. It can be easily killed, but I gotta kill your 2-drop, and you can remove the removal. That was the huge thing for 1/2. Like, you play this and you remove the removal, and you just swing for 2 life swing every turn, and you don't trade unless opponent has flyers.
I think you're right.
B.
The lifelink actually makes us way better.
Yeah, I'm gonna B.
Like way better.
Way better, yeah.
Way better.
Then the 1/2 looter. I think it was some kind of, I don't know, the 1/2 flyer. Kite Sail.
Yeah, this card blows Kite Sail Freebooter out of the water.
Yeah, freebooter, yeah.
Yep.
Not looter.
I think so.
I'm on a B.
Except it's not a human.
Just a straight up B. This is crazy powerful. Crazy. Defossilize. For 4 and a black, return sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature explores and then it explores again. Okay, so this is the big thing. Like with Chupacabra, right?
Wait. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. I misread the card. You know it took creatures. Right?
What?
I missed that. The bat.
What?
The bat takes creatures.
No, it's like a non-land card.
Yeah, but we're comparing it so much to Freebooter, I got thrown off. I'm sorry. This is my fault. I'm holding up the set review because I didn't read the card. You knew that though, right?
Wait, Freebooter doesn't remove. It's a non-land, non-creature card.
Yeah, Freebooter is only is non-land non.
And that is crazy powerful.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, this is a B. This is bonkers. Sorry.
No, I forgot about a Freebooter. I thought Freebooter also targeted creatures, maybe.
Okay,
like,
good. It's your fault then. Let's move on.
But no, this. What do you give this in the end?
Yeah, it's a B as well. This is
fucked
crazy.
up. Maybe I can see it being B plus, one of the best uncommons. Because you remove the removal. Okay, so this thing with Chupacabra. So you can order the triggers if you have the enabled function on Arena. If you disable auto order triggers. So you get a Chupacabra back and you explore 2 times, so you can put more things in the graveyard and kill something else. And, well, then you get more -X. I mean, this is good. Like, this is actually good. The last time I remember that some of these cards were good, it was in Ikoria that gave lifelink counter to the card. And here you also have like land cyclers, so that helps. But like getting anything back if it explores twice, it's any 3-drop exploring 2 more times is worth this. So I like this card, man. Am I wrong about it?
No, this card reads really powerfully to me.
I'm kind of gonna give it a C+.
For a 5 mana conditional card, that feels a little high to me. But I do agree that it's powerful.
And you explore to move things in the graveyard as well?
Yes, I'm giving this a C.
Okay.
But I agree, it's I think I haven't played tons of recent sets, but I think this is the most powerful one I've seen.
Okay. What is score 81? I don't know what it means.
Gargantuan Leech. 7 black, 8 mana total. For a creature Leech, it's a 5/5. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each cave you control and each cave card in your graveyard. You, Lola, as we this is the first time talking about caves today. You and I are not cave believers.
Nope.
We are believers in
civilization,
decks with incidental amounts of caves, right? Like maybe like a 3 solid caves in a deck, I believe is a high number. You know, I'm not an all-in cave believer, so I 5/5 lifelink is good. And how many caves do you need on the battlefield to make this reasonable? So at 8 mana it's terrible, 7 mana it's terrible, 6 mana it's not bad. So like 2, and that's going to be pretty unlikely.
I don't like this as 6 mana.
You don't like it at 6 mana even? Okay, 5. It's terrible. D minus.
I'm on a D minus as well. This like needs caves, and I don't like it at all. I don't just the caves. We don't believe the caves. There, I don't think anything ties the cave deck together. I know I wanted to say something. The fossilized, I might be giving it like a little bit higher grade, but this is like the first time I really like that type of effect in the longest time. And yeah, no, we're not gonna pause and show all the caves. We did that yesterday. You can just Google the caves. Somebody give people the link to caves. The caves are good. The caves in color are good. Every other cave is not very good. The grotto one can be fine, but that's kind of about it. Next up, we got Grasping Shadows for 3 and a black. It's an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains Death Touch and Lifelink until end of turn. Put a Dread counter on this thing. Then if there are 3 or more Dread counters on it, transform it. It transforms into a land that taps for black, and you can pay black and tap this thing and remove a dread counter from this thing, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Man, that's a cool design. Man, this is different from a lot of, we don't have these cards at Uncommon usually. It's like something like rare. This is so cool that this exists. And I think it's good. Usually these things, like, I don't know, in Shadows over Innistrad we had like, it gives double strike. I think it was there, or so, if I'm correct. Like double strike, nah. This thing like makes something that attacks, always trade, and it gains you back life. And then it's gonna like either ramp you or just draw you 3 cards. Right? 3 or more dread counters, don't you transform it?
It'll be 3, yeah.
It'll be 3.
It'll be 3.
This is great. Like, I think this is amazing. 4 mana is so much. But it does gain you back life. And you push the damage. Man, I might be stupid. This slips into a cave. Oh, whatever. I might be silly, but I'm giving this a B-. Maybe even higher grade, but I'm gonna start this B-. 4 mana is so much. I'm gonna give this a B-.
I think that you are right in that there's a lot of power here. I think that attacking alone without an extra bonus to power is a little awkward. It really does help you race though in a kind of bizarre way, because then you can actually leave extra blockers back. But I think the effect is strong.
And then you draw 3 cards.
And flip.
And ramp and draw 3 cards.
Yes. I'm not unhappy about paying 4 mana for this up front. I'm not, because like if I think about a normal scenario, I'm gonna play this, attack with my 3-drop, gain like 3 life. I'm okay with that, you know. Like I'm actually totally fine with that, because I actually have extra stuff on the battlefield. Specifically, I wouldn't be okay with paying 4 mana for this if I was like gonna die, like lose way too much time. But this card naturally gives me time, unless that creature dies, and then I'm like super sad or whatever. But whatever. Gosh, B-, huh? Yeah, I'll join you. I think betting against you is bad on this one. I'll go join you at B-.
Okay, because like lifelink is the best thing to put on an equipment. Like by far, it's not even close. Lifelink is the best thing to put on equipment, and this kind of acts like an equipment, kinda. And it is gonna give you value later. Oh man, I like this. Scotty.
Malicious Eclipse. 1 black for a sorcery. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. I kind of like it. I don't love it main deck. I don't love it main deck because like I don't actually think that there's any deck that actively wants this effect without knowing what your opponent is doing. So I'm not taking it particularly highly. I'm taking this at like a D+, but I want to put a sideboard X.
Absolutely, Cyborg X. This is great in a sideboard. Outside of it, like D+, sure. If you really don't have that many targets, I can see maybe some kind of discover deck, but I don't think there's usually gonna be that one, where you kind of want to have everything have more than 2 toughness and be like 3 drops, 4 drops, and so on, and then you like this in your deck. But I don't know if that deck is gonna exist. It might randomly happen, so that's one to be on a lookout for. Randomly happen. I don't think you're going for that deck because there is not that many discover stuff. Your creatures are not exiled. Sure, that's fine. Soul Coil Viper for 2 and a black. It's a 2/3. You can pay black, tap this guy, and sacrifice it. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Activate only a sorcery. So finality counter, this is the first time we saw it. It just means that when that creature dies, it is gonna get exiled instead of dying. I mean, that's pretty good with a land cycler.
Oh, by the way, this is another recursion effect for Chupacabra.
That is true. But when you recur it with this, you can never recur it again. Which is okay.
Alright, how many Chups do you need, Lola?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, you can bounce it or hand, and then you... then you replay it and then it loses it. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think this is nice. This is pretty good with the land cyclers. Like, it's a 2/3 body. It's not horrible, and you just pay 1 mana. Is it so stupid that I want to give this a C+?
Follow your heart, man.
Huh?
Just do it. Follow your heart.
Follow my heart. I'm gonna give it a C+.
All right, I'm giving it a C. You're whack.
Yeah, I think I might be wrong, but C+. Let's say. Okay, Skaru.
Stinging Cave Crawler. It's a 2 and a black for a creature insect horror. It's a 1/3 with Death Touch. Descend 4. When Stinging Cave Crawler attacks, if there are 4 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, draw a card, and you lose 1 life. The old man in me wants to like this because there was a time where like 1/3 for 3 mana was like, oh yeah, or 1/3 Death Touch for 3 mana was like, oh yeah, this is like it. We're doing it. We're defending ourselves. We're gonna survive this game of Magic. I think that age is past. I think that age is past, unfortunately. I don't think a 1/3 for 3 mana is fantastic anymore. However, if you really just boil it down, yeah, this will trade with anything. You know, 3 mana trade with anything, fine. As a base, fine. Like, I don't know, like a D+ or whatever. But the upside is really nice. Actually, I'm having Descend 4. And the fact that if they want to block this and stop you from drawing extra cards, they also have to lose a card. So like attack, get a 2 for 1. Right? I'm pretty happy about that.
This is a very good payoff for Descending.
Yeah, I think this is a super solid 3-drop. C+ for me.
Yeah, I'm on a C+ as well. I can see it going better. And this is also a nice thing to revive. It's a nice thing to protect with tricks, with that enchantment as well. Yeah, I can. This is great. I think this is great. In the end, it just trades with anything if you're not going to be drawing cards with it. Not crazy early game, but when you descend, yeah, I like this a lot. Synapse Necromage. For 2 and a black, it's a 3/1. When it dies, create 2 1/1 black fungus creature tokens with this creature count block. That's a lot of fungus creature tokens. But when it dies. Why are these fungus creature tokens? Why cannot they block? I don't think it's too much to ask if they could block.
Has your path ever been obstructed by a mushroom, Lola?
What?
Has your path, while you're walking outside, ever been obstructed by a mushroom?
No.
There you go. Let's move on.
What? It's no good killing them. Then what do we do? Distract them with a tea party. Why did you ask me that?
You've never been blocked by a mushroom. So why are you asking the question? Let's move on.
Oh, oh my god. But this is a mushroom and it can block. I don't know what to give this card. Like, it's a dead effect, it's a 3/1. It makes 2 1/1s. Like, this is pretty damn solid with the 4 mana 3/3. Yeah, this could have been a common, I think.
No way. No way. This is so much cardboard.
But it's like rats. It makes rats. On that, it's gotta die. What are you giving it? I can't figure this one out really. I gotta think about it. Talk to me.
I'm giving it a solid C. I don't think that there's a whole lot of like what we're lacking in the set is a whole lot of exile, so I'm not actually super concerned about this not getting its trigger. Right? I think 3 toughness or 3 power trades off with just most anything I wanted to. And then you have cardboard. I don't care that sure, they can't block. Sure, that's fine. But it's cardboard that you can then sacrifice to whatever you want.
What are you sacrificing?
I'm happy about that. What do you mean, what are you sacrificing to?
The 4 mana 3/3.
4 mana 3/3, sure. I think that's an important part. I think the Deadly Dispute plus is the map dispute. I really do think that's a pivotal card that you just want extra cardboard for. Just churn through your deck, high velocity. That's 2 commons. That's 2 very good commons that I think are going to end up in basically all your decks.
You're not crafting with creatures that much.
Yeah, not crafting with creatures that much.
Yeah, there is one black-white dude that sacrifices. Tap Think synergy, there's very few. I don't know, C minus.
I'm not betting against cardboard. This is a C for me.
I want a C minus. I don't know, but they cannot block. That's so huge. Okay.
I mean, if they could block, isn't this card stupid strong? Isn't this like a B minus?
Yeah.
Okay. Visage of Dread. 1 in a black for 2 mana total for an artifact. When a Visage of Dread enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an artifact or creature card from it. That player discards that card. Craft with 2 creatures. So I craft with 2 creatures and 6 mana. For Dread, I'm sorry. Osasaur. For it's a 5/4 with menace. Whenever Dread Osasaur enters the battlefield or attacks, you may mill 2 cards. So 2 mana semi-pilferish type effect is not great, not particularly impressive. Sometimes sideboarded, or sometimes reasonable and sealed or sideboarded in. The backside for 6 mana. Sure, it's fine. I'm gonna be honest. Like 6 mana is a lot. 6 mana is a lot for like something with 4 toughness.
Isn't this like way worse than blue 2-drop?
Yeah,
Common?
it is.
Blue common
So,
2-drop artifact?
yeah, pretty whack. that's pretty whack. It's wow. I am reasonably happy about, like, I'm not unhappy about sacrificing or doing something with the artifact and not paying 6 mana for this, so, you know, always gravy. 2 creatures is actually kind of getting to the point where it costs a decent amount. I don't really care about the milling at this stage of the game. Maybe I should, but right now I don't.
Craft with 2 creatures, lose
this
your
is
descent.
a solid C. I think this is a solid C. I guess exiling 2 creatures means that you can hopefully get them back pretty soon. Solid C for me.
I want to C minus because it also doesn't do anything. It's not that good late game. It's not very good. It loses you descent as well. I think I want to C minus. It's still... Is it even fine? Like, I'm on a D plus. I don't know. It's like way worse than a blue card, a common. I'm on a D plus. I don't care about it.
I don't think it's way worse. Like, why do you think it's way worse? Because
like
the backside is worse?
Craft with 2 creatures is harder than craft with artifact in this set, I think.
How much worse do you think the front side is?
The front side is worse because, like, making discard something is way worse than milling and drawing. But just drawing is better because you can always do that and it always makes sense. The backside is a 5/4 instead of being a 6/6. It doesn't tap when it attacks or untap. It just like mills 2, which is fine.
Did you move it down to a D plus?
Yeah, I'm on a D plus. I don't like this card at all. I don't like the front side. I don't like the back side. It might be better than what I'm giving it credit for because it does give you 2 things. I guess I'm on a C minus. Give it a C minus. C minus. Sorry, man. C minus is fine. Like,
okay.
it's okay. But a blue one is just better.
I also think so.
And it's a common. Atlazots, whatever. Deepest Betrayal. For 3 and double black, that's a 4/4 flying lifelink. That's already incredibly powerful. When it attacks, each opponent discards a card. For each opponent who cannot, you draw a card. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, create a 1/1 black bat with flying. Whenever this thing dies, you turn it around and it becomes a Temple of the Dead, which is like a swamp. And for 2 and a black, you can also, and a tap, you can transform this, but only if a player has 1 or fewer cards in hand and only as sorcery. Da-da-da-dum! This is the best card in the set so far, and maybe in the end it's gonna be 5 mana 4/4 lifelink is broken. That is it. If it is something, is a 5 mana flying lifelink. You cannot raise that, you gotta remove it. So that's one part. But this also makes opponents discard or draw you cards. And if they discard like land, it also gives you some more board. The flip side, it ramps you, so that's nice. But this is the one that is so easy to transform. When this dies, you can probably transform it any time. So it's not really gonna die, right? So you can transform this anytime. Like 1 or fewer, any player, it can be you or the opponent. There's just like always 3 mana and transform it. Very rarely you're gonna have to wait like a turn or two. Completely broken. This is an A+. Wow, what? It's so oppressive. Like 4/4 lifelinker just as a flyer, that's enough. Nope, it has like 5 more incredibly powerful effects. Woohoo! Scotty?
A+.
If this is not, I think this is maybe the best card in the set, but I still gotta see until we finish the list. Maybe I'm gonna change my opinion. What the hell, Scotty?
Bloodletter of Aklazotz. 1 black, 4 mana total for a creature, vampire, demon. It's a 2/4. Has flying. If an opponent would lose life during your turn, they would lose twice that much life instead. All right. So I don't care about the text box. I don't care about the power toughness. I care about the mana cost. That's horrible. That's so uncastable. I understand that treasures exist. I understand that you have higher velocity, especially in nutrition-based black decks, and maps, exploring stuff, to draw more lands, etc. I think this is a D.
I care about mana cost as well, but I really care about everything else about this card. Like, 3 black is hard to cast, but it's not 4. 4 is crazy. 4 of a single pip is just crazy hard. 3 is manageable. And twice that much life, like, whew. There's a lot of life. And this is like a 4/4 flyer when it attacks. And yeah, this doesn't have the common curve. I think this is great.
I am not happy with this as my 6-drop.
I think I'm gonna do this as C+. Because of the mana cost, it's harder. If it's better mana cost, it gets way better, but I'm fine with this.
Are you happy playing this in turn 6?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Bringer of the Last Gift. For 6 and double black, it's a 6/6 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, each player sacrifices all other creatures they control. Then each player returns all creature cards from their graveyard that weren't put there this way to the battlefield. This is absolute garbage. This is not good. This is not what I want to work for. Like, I'm gonna lose to this, sure. Opponent just blocks and loses their creatures, but there is like a lot of times where they're gonna have a better time than you for this, and it's 8 mana. I mean, if I'm playing something for 8 mana, I gotta be kind of sure that it's basically always gonna win me the game. F, never, I think.
Yeah, this is an F. Sorry, do you want to put a ceiling grade on the last card? Because like mana bases that are like 10/7 are you can do that.
Also a little bit of treasures, and if you have explore does definitely help with that.
Yeah. Do you want a ceiling grade to go higher?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm okay with like a
B.
Like a BB minus ceiling.
I'm okay with a B ceiling.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you. This is an F. This was unplayed. Next one.
Corpses of the Lost. 2 and a black for a 3 mana for an enchantment. Skeletons you control get +1/+0 and have haste. When Corpses of the Lost enter the battlefield, create a 2/2 black skeleton pirate token. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, you may pay 1 life. If you do, return Corpses of the Lost to its owner's hand. Yeah.
That's good.
So at its base, let's strip away everything. This is a 3/2 haste. 3/2 haste for 3 mana. Solid. Perfectly solid. And now, every time you descend on your end step, you just get another one, right? Even for 3 mana, it just comes back to your hand.
You gotta play 3 mana, yeah.
That's strong. That's good. I really don't even hate trading. Like, it's not skeletons to get +1 power on attack. You know, you're blocking as 3 power. Lovely. Lovely. I like that. You don't even have to pay the 1 life, so it's not, you don't get like Bitter Blossoms out of the game, or if you're at 1 life. that's a nice small upside. But I think this is really good. It's a B+ for me.
Yeah, I like this as well. I want a B. It's great. Because you always have to pay 3, and the first time you play it, it's not the best creature, but that's really good. Preacher of the Schism. For 2 and a black, it's a 2 for Death Toucher. Whenever it attacks a player with the most life or tied for most life, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. Whenever this thing attacks while you have the most life or are tied for the most life, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Okay, so opponent has more life than you. This thing is a 2 for Death Toucher for 3. You attack and you make a 1/1 vampire. If opponent has less life than you, you have a 2 for Death Toucher that draws you a card and you lose 1 life. If you're tied for life, you get both effects. Getting any of this effect is crazy good on a 2 for Death Toucher. This is bonkers. This is crazy. This is like at least a B+. I kind of want to give it a bomb grading, but it's probably gonna trade. If you can protect it, that's really good. Yeah, I'm just good in early game, great in early game, good in late game, like blocks super well. Read again.
They just like hearing the sound of your voice.
Why would I read again?
For the fans.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe that comment is not for me. I mean, if you get like this is just crazy. I'm on a B+, maybe an A-, but let's start as a B+.
Me too, B+, super strong.
That's crazy. This is better than Resplendent Angel, right?
That's a good point. What do we put for Resplendent Angel? B+?
I think we get it A-.
I think Resplendent Angel is probably... Okay, well, let's see. At the late game point... At the late game point, Resplendent Angel is definitely better.
I mean, but at the late game point, like, you pay the mana and opponent kills it.
Sure.
That's always been backbreaking for Resplendent Angel.
Okay, yeah, that's true. They're pretty close.
Like, I kind of want this on 3 mana.
I would certainly prefer this on turn 3.
Top deck, the Angel is better. Mid game, I prefer this as well.
I'm okay with an A- on this one.
I'm okay with an A- as well. This is crazy.
Yeah, this card's really good.
Really good. A-, let's go.
It's also like significantly better than the Skeleton card. Well, I guess you had it at B.
Okay.
But...
Yeah, like let's give it an A-. This is so good. Do you want to talk about it?
No, I don't want to talk about it. Queen's Bay Paladin. 3 black for 5 mana for creature vampire knight. It's a 5/4. Whenever Queen's Bay Paladin enters the battlefield or attacks, return up to 1 target vampire card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. You lose life equal to its mana value. This one takes a Scryfall search, doesn't it? I'm looking specifically for common. I'm looking for common vampires that are relatively cheap, that are not super painful to bring back. I know off the top of my head, there's the Vito's 4 mana 3/3, which is like fine. That's fine. It's kind of painful to bring back that one, but honestly, I would anyway because it's like a freaking 5/4 with a 3/3.
Yeah.
So that's like I do it anyway. It's great. It's really strong. Can you read off to me?
There is like the Echo of Dust, like a 2/2 with the Descent. There is a bad 1/4. There is a white 3/2 that we really like, that sacrifices an artifact to make something bigger.
Yeah. Okay.
So there is like 2 decent things in black, I think.
That's not a lot. That's fine. It's not a ton. This is all right for 5 mana. I think this definitely has a ceiling, and it really hinges on those high quality hits to bring back. I get that you can mill yourself, right? I get that you can explore things in the graveyard. So like, yeah, you're more likely to have a hit when you do have X number of vampires in your deck. And still, I think I'm taking this at like a B-, but I think as a ceiling, it could be a B+.
Yeah, B-, B+ ceiling, I think, easy. If you could just get one thing back, that's like a B+ already. If you get one thing back.
So yeah, even if you get a 2/2 back. Yeah, that's a B+.
That's a B+, if you get a 2/2 back.
Like a vanilla 2/2.
But you gotta get it back. If you don't get anything back, like that's a B+ if you get it back. If you don't get it back, then this is like a D minus. But the upside is there, so B minus is how highly I pick it as well.
I'm pretty sure I read that last one.
Souls of the Lost. For 1 and a black, we get a spirit that says as an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. It has Fathomless Descent, same like Chupacabra, so its power and toughness are equal to the number of permanents in your graveyard, but toughness is also +1. This one is garbage. Like sacrifice a... Oh wait, you can sacrifice any permanent. It can be a land. So early game, sacrificing any permanent or discarding card is really bad. Mid game, like mid game, late game, this can get better for some explosive turns. Like mid game, late game, it can help you descent as well by sacrificing a land, because it can be any permanent. Like random fodder is a land. Oh man, I don't like it. Like it's not a 2-drop, this one, I think. Kind of want to give it an F or a D minus, but like, I think if you care about descent, like later on, it's nice to take a land, I guess. Oh, milling is a thing, but I don't think there's that much milling as well. And like, you don't just play it. I'm on a D. I don't like this.
Okay, I'll get a little spicy. I don't. It's not a 2-drop, right? I'm seeing this as like in the late game slot for a deck that can incidentally mill itself, and I'm gonna double spell on turn 4 or 5 and add to a very swingy turn, and I'm kind of okay with that. It's a C minus for me. I don't think it's great, but I'm kind of fine with it.
Okay.
Stalactite Stalker, black for a creature goblin rogue. It's a 1/1. Has menace at the beginning of your end step. If you descended this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Stalactite Stalker. It's 2 and a black and sacrifice Stalactite Stalker. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is Stalactite Stalker's power. This is nice. This is pretty nice. Evasive, can chip in damage early. We'll just sit there and grow. If your opponent points literally any removal spell at it, sure, bring it on. I paid 1 mana for it, you know? Not too bad. I think in terms of an aggressive descend-centric deck, this is the best way to start off your game. I think this is like a B minus.
Yeah, the artwork is pretty cool. I'm gonna B minus as well. Like, this is one of the better 2-drops, and you can use it as a removal later, and it's hard to kill it.
This is a 1-drop.
Did I say 2-drop?
You said 2-drop.
No, I meant 1-drop. That's huge that it's 1-drop. Yeah, this is the one. Like, you have the 3 mana 2/2. This world of difference. 3 mana 2/2 with the same effect. And it also doesn't, it's like 1 more power for 2 more mana and 1 more toughness, I guess. And you don't have the effect like the 2 and black. Yeah, I'm into this. B minus seems fine. Very good 2-drop. Starving Revenant. For 2 and double black, it's a 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, surveil 2. Then for each card you put on top of your library, you draw a card and you lose 3 life. Oh. And descent 8. Whenever you draw a card, if there are 8 or more... Okay, descend 8. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. There is 4 mana 4/4 with surveil 2. Probably gonna draw you some cards. Or you can just descend faster if you don't have the life. It has really good defense, descend ability. Like, it has a good body, right? It's not just like, this is garbage stats, but when it gets descended, then it does something. Like, it's 4/4 that can draw you 2 cards if you want for 6 life, sure. That is great. It just draws you the land. No, wait. No, it's not Explorer. Man, I love this card. I mean, I'm gonna give this like a B+.
This card is gas.
Yeah.
I'm just slamming this. Okay, if I'm at I was gonna say an extreme example. I was like, if I'm at 10 life, I'm slamming this and losing 6. Stop me. But no, this is really good. This is super strong, and I actually do think that pay this on turn 4, lose 6 life will be extremely common.
Extremely powerful.
Super common, extremely common, super good. B plus.
And just draining in the end, that could be great. Oh man, that's good.
Is this a bomb? It's probably not a bomb.
I think it's a B plus. I think it's a B plus.
Tarian's Journal. It's a 1 and a black for a 2 mana for a legendary artifact. Tap it and sacrifice another artifact or creature. Draw a card. Activate only as a sorcery. Oof. And 2 and tap it to discard your hand. Transform Tarian's Journal. The Tomb of Aklazoltz. It's a legendary land. It's a cave and it taps for black. And also you can tap it and you may cast a creature spell from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters the battlefield with a finality counter on it. And it's a vampire in addition to its other types. 2 mana, discard your hand. If your hand is empty, you actually don't have to discard anything. Like it says it's a cost, but if your hand is 0, you do discard your hand. It's just that it's 0, right? You discard 0. So you don't have to discard anything to this, rules wise. So if you're hellbent, 0 cards in hand, 2 mana, tap it, transform it. Not bad, pretty good. Notably, it transforms tapped. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
Tap, sacrifice another artifact or creature, draw a card. That is pretty dependent on your deck. However,
I think it's pretty good.
I think you'll just incidentally have stuff to sacrifice. Fungus, right? Fungus, Ichor Wellspring, I forgot what it's called. Mephitic something. Various treasure map tokens, just an outmoded body, right? Like a snail that you've already made them exile with. Strong. I think this card is actually quite strong, and I think this is a B for me. This is a B.
I'm gonna be minus, and I think it's great. I do think it's great. Only sorcery, but you tap it for 0 mana. So anything that you can ditch, wanna ditch, whatever small things, enchanted things, that pacified things. That's pretty good. That's just pretty good, like for tap. And then at one point it's gonna like be crazy lady. But it's like at one point. Like this last part is very slow. It's still pretty good. Like having this first effect sells it. And just being the first effect, I wouldn't like it. So both effects combined make for a pretty good card, I think. Gives you like fine mid game, late game, and then at one point really good late games. Yeah, B minus, I think it's a pretty good card. Terror Tide for 2 and double black. It has a Fathomless Descent. All creatures get -X/-6 until end of the turn, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. Permanent cards, Jesus Christ, in your graveyard. Yeah, I mean it can kill things. Conditional kill things.
Also, still not a grade.
Not great. Not great. Super grindy deck. Maybe you have a super grindy deck that puts things in a graveyard and so on, so it can do work there. But it's not consistent, so I'm just gonna give it a D+, because I think it works in that deck well. In a lot of other decks it just doesn't work at all, so D+.
Yeah, I think sweepers have been long overrated and limited. I don't know where the community at large is on sweepers. This is very interesting in terms of the curve, the power curve of this, right? Like if you think about the game and how it's going to play out and the power curve, it's very low in the beginning. Like super, like obviously in the first couple turns, like you might not actually want to hit, but then when you can start casting it towards the mid game, it actually is at its peak. And then the power level kind of goes down again as your graveyard gets too big and you're going to sweep your stuff again. I believe in it a lot more than you do, but I still don't think it's fantastic. I think I'm going to take this at a C.
Okay. So much for rating the board weights. What do you think about black, Scotty? We are done with black. Mainly commons, and I guess uncommons do get in there as well, because there's a lot of them. What do you think?
I really do think that there's enough high-quality common black support for sacrificing. And I'm only talking like 2 things that I'm happy about, right? 2 things I'm really happy about. And I think that's enough to be archetype defining. The rest of it is kind of just good stuff. I always thought that red was like descend aggro, quote unquote descend aggro. I don't see anything for that really. In terms of me wanting to, like, in terms of like payoffs for doing that. So like, I'm probably just gonna play creatures on curve and combat tricks and stuff and quality cards. Maybe it's all in red. I don't know. But yeah, not bad. I actually think that all the colors. So I think blue's nuts, right? But I think all the colors look. Nothing stands out to me as particularly junky, which is a good sign.
I'm kind of a little bit. I'm not a huge believer in like. What do you mean 2 sec things? Like there's like 4-drop that secs for 1.
4-drop and taxing. I think that card is very good, right?
Yeah. What's the other sec thing?
So I think that card is very good. I am a big believer in Sign of Blood, Acre Wellspring. I think the card is actually great.
Okay.
And I think that the map Fanatical Offering is also very, very good. And I think that those 3 commons are enough to make a strong archetype on their own.
Okay.
I think that's enough. I think we've done it. Pack it in. Good archetype.
Alright, at least like the Vitus Inquisitor is not artifact, so that's nice. Doesn't die to this thing. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about like creatures in black, early game creatures. The white and blue ones look a lot better. So that's a little...
I think that there's basically no black 2-drop. So this is actually really important. At common level, there is no black 2-drop I'm happy pressuring my opponent with.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah.
The best we got is a vanilla 2/2. That's literally, I'm not kidding. That's the best we got. You know?
But
the
it
vampire
doesn't,
2/2.
it can be not be vanilla at one point.
Yeah,
and
but like when you're beating down, it's gonna be vanilla 2/2.
You know, now that I think
On
about
curve.
like Vitus Inquisitor can work very well with like Descent as well. Like making that a 3/3 lifelinker, which is all of a sudden
At instant speed, yeah.
pretty damn good.
Yeah, not bad.
I
But
could
like
see that with
it's black is clearly skewed 2-drop wise towards defending itself.
Yeah, I can see Vito being better, but if I've like it's a very powerful effect. I have just a little bit of a problem that it's 4 mana card, and it's also not colorless to activate it. It's black. But yeah, that's a bit of a problem for me. Right? Not having those like early game creatures to block and attack with. But the uncommons in black are pretty damn powerful. Like the uncommons like Chupacabra and the Bat. Jesus Christ. So there are a lot of other black uncommons that are just really good. But these ones are crazy. And I think that is gonna add to the power level of black. The commons are always most important things, like always. But when you have a decent amount of uncommons that are really good, and then you have some uncommons that are completely broken, that adds to the power level of the color. When there's just like 1 or 2 really good uncommons and that's it, then like this you can expect to have some. So I'm feeling fine about black. But blue still looks a lot better. Do you think? Do you agree?
Blue, I love blue. Blue looks the best.
Blue looks so good. All right, we are on to red. Well, yeah, we are looking at the best red. Come on, maybe. A braid is a 1 and a red instant that you can choose one. Destroy target artifact